Are out. Group 1 hits the track 25 minutes to get their business done on a great day here on the lake. Welcome into our broadcast center, everybody, with the Hall of Famer Dale Earnhardt Jr., our crew chief Steve Letarte. I'm Adam Alexander. It is, in fact, Salmon Saturday here.
We all come down at the bottom of the elevator the other day and looked at each other and went, really?
Really? Really?
Everybody picked the same shirt.
It was funny when I walked around the corner and Steve had it on, but then when Dale came out, it's like, oh, my gosh, what are we going to do?
We got no chance. Now, we did have 4 hours of change, but we committed to it.
Hey, we're having fun here, and this is just an awesome racetrack, Dale. What are we going to see this weekend? Third time we've done this.
Yeah, it's an interesting track, obviously. The only street course in the series, and it's a place where you can't really get a lot of time, a lot of laps, right? Only time that look here, already an issue with Denny here on the racetrack, spun around. Take a look at how this happened. He's got some kind of an issue. He's blown the engine or something. See all that stuff pouring out of the exhaust?
Smoke out the right side of the pipes does not look good. Like this thing's already shut off. Right here, we're going to see it, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's smoke pouring out of this car. So he spun out either with an engine issue or an oil leak, one of the combination. Alan, what's the story on the 11, my man?
Yeah, just listening on the radio, he said something blew out the bottom of the engine. That's all we know at the moment. You could see the smoke pouring out. Denny Hamlin getting out, helmet off, window net down. So not a good start to the weekend for Denny Hamlin. We'll listen more as to what exactly is happening to the 11, but he said something blew out the bottom of the car. Obviously not long into this practice, guys.
The Salmon continues. Four wide. Good looking shirt, Alan.
I got the memo, guy. Look at Denny looking under the car.
Well, so I drew it. It was very poor drawing, but if you go back to Denny looking underneath it, in front of it, it's hard to tell because it's city streets, but you see the drops, like these little tracks right here. That's oil that has come out from the bottom of this thing. So this isn't like a light engine failure. This is a massive engine explosion. Look at him. He's pointing and he's frustrated. I mean, crazy. You think half a lap? This 11 has broken an engine.
Yeah. It was
so that tough track you talked about, then you get 0 laps. You're going to get no practice before tomorrow.
Hey, and you talk about the rhythm of racing on the road. He didn't compete at Mexico City a couple of weeks ago doing dad duty, right?
Yeah.
So take him some time to get acclimated and feeling the rhythm of Chicago. Now we say hello to Danielle Trotta. What's going on, Danielle?
Well, I didn't get the salmon shirt memo, Adam, but I am covering a red, white, and blue paint scheme down here in the pits. Shane Van Gisbergen, today's a special day, guys. It marks the exact date, 2-year anniversary since SVG burst onto the scene in NASCAR, winning this inaugural Chicago street course race in 2023. Since then, what a dream. Won the Chicago Xfinity race here in 2024, and just last month came off a blistering, dominant Cup Series victory in Mexico City by 16.5 seconds. I just talked to Shane. I said, what's the goal? He said, I want to run all 8 laps in this first 25-minute session. Should be about 18 laps. His crew chief, Stephen Doran, said that's going to help us dial in our strategy for tomorrow, whether it's a 1-stop or 2-stop, depending on tire fall off and track wear. Keep an eye on that. Let's send it over to Mamba.
What's going on, guys? Happy to be back after that big win that I had. I just want to remind Steve on whose bracket is better. You know, Denny Hamlin not making it tied down. Anyway, I'm sitting here at Buckingham Fountain. Look how beautiful this skyline is, guys. It's so cool. Vibes are high. Summertime Shy is in full effect. We got some really cool fan activations behind me. There's a couple different fan clubs you can go to. Make sure if you're around the racetrack this weekend, you stop by the pick shop and get your official Chicago gear. One thing after the track walk that I noticed was this track is getting increasingly bumpier as the years go on, because it's not a track, right? It is a regular street, and these cars are going to be going through a lot of these transitions. Will be something to watch during qualifying practice, guys.
Man, Mama, that's aggressive to take a shot at the guy that has the mic for the whole show. I mean, I'm going to get all kinds of shots in on Mama. But you were right, Mama. I will admit, this is your moment of glory. You predicted all week the Ty Dillon, Denny Hamlin upset. It only took 23 cars wrecking on the backstretch to come true. But you are correct, sir.
Whatever it takes, man. If you're right, you're right. If you're here and I'm right, then you must be. I must be right.
Yep, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Let's look at this track map and 2.2 miles, 12 turns.
Yeah, it's a fun little racetrack. Pretty simple, to be honest with you, in terms. You're not going to get lost getting around this racetrack, but there are some challenging corners. Obviously, the first two 90-degree corners heading on to Lakeshore Drive. We have a lot of issues over here in turn 2 at the top of the racetrack.
ago, the track walk, we were all out there.
Up in the tire barrier in turn 6, and you know, when you're walking up on it, you can see how that could be inviting and kind of lure you into that braking zone a little too deep. And a lot of speedy drag going down on the racetrack as they're trying to clean up all the fluid that came out of this number 11 Toyota for Denny Hamlin.
It's going to be a present for you when you get to the exit of 6. And you're like, oh, man, there's DH right here. You know, his facial expressions have kind of said it all. Like, I mean, he looks confused, you know. Well, let's listen. What's he saying?
Just saying, like, something. You know, I'm not saying this is us, like, the process or something. Just fucking everything up. Like, can't be cars there. It's fucking abstract.
So let's set up his frustration. So why is a guy like Denny so frustrated? You mentioned he was in Mexico City, but Dale was in the middle of talking about how difficult this track is. And even a guy that's won this many times on the Cup Series, he needs practice. He wants practice. He wants to qualify. This may be one of the most track position races just because of the toughness of passing, because of the narrowness. He knows all of that, and you see that frustration. He's like, how can we be this good and we have broke a half a lap into practice? And I don't have the answer, because you can see from his face, I mean, the oil is pouring out of it, right? So something catastrophically has failed in this Toyota, and he's frustrated. Coach is there. I'm gonna get. Hey, look,
All the brass are
brass
listening in.
They are. He has the attention of everyone.
But here's what I love, though, Dale, from a leadership perspective. You know, he's your driver. He's the guy that wins so many races and has delivered so much good to Joe Gibbs Racing. There comes a time when you got to deliver a message and try to make sure that everybody's where they need to be. I love the leadership from Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, I think I'm you know, I know he's frustrated with, you know, because there's cars just don't blow up engines going out on the racetrack and rolling around at half speed. There's something in the processes or in their protocols that it's created.
Something I missed, right? Like, so let's talk about this. This could be a second race on the engine. We don't know that. But even if it was, this engine's been dynoed on the engine dynamometer, right? Then it was put in the car, probably chassis dyno, warmed up here. To your point, Dale, it has gone through many, many cycles before it tried to go run a half a lap and then broke. So something is amiss in their process or procedure with preparing for practice. I don't know. It's kind of unfathomable.
Yeah. And I think that's Denny's frustration. He's like, how does this happen? But at the same time, man, you got to remember you're having one of your best career seasons.
Yeah, I don't know what the consolation prize is. I mean, 3 wins,
he's
right?
Tried.
That's good. Yeah.
Dale was trying to get the glass half full.
I just think he's gonna, you know, everything's gonna be all right, man. Just,
I agree.
you know, it's a tough deal. It's unfortunate, but you know, have some fun driving from the back or whatever happens on Sunday.
What do you have for us, Danielle?
Stephen Doran just radioed to his driver, still cleaning up a little bit of oil from Denny Hamlin's issue here, thinking they'll get back going in a second. But you're watching the clock tick down, Steve Letarte. I was looking to run the whole practice, all 25 minutes on the same set of tires, 18 laps he was thinking, to help determine what their strategy is going to be tomorrow, whether it's a 1-stop, a 2-stop. What is something like this, a red flag, an issue? What does that do to the mindset of a crew chief in trying to figure out how to maximize the time they will get on track?
So the positive is it happened right away. You didn't get 6 or 7 laps into the run on the only set of tires you have. For them, the caution could come out because that heat cycle, Dale, could change your tire dramatically. So that's the positive. The negative is they're going to lose some time, but NASCAR is not going to allow Group 1 to only run 11 minutes and Group 2 to have 25 minutes. They're going to add some time to this group. Now, look, they may have to remove some time from the second group to keep them equal because there's only so much time available for the Xfinity Series race today. So we'll wait until NASCAR tells us what they'll be. But, Danielle, it's a great point that it can be a disruption. Luckily, I think it happened before they were on track getting too much accomplished.
I'll go back, though, Xfinity practice earlier today. They're set up a little bit different than what we do with the Cup cars, but there were so many incidents that no one was able to achieve a 10-lap run, and so it does leave you in the dark a little bit on where you are in regard to setup for the race there, and then what your thoughts are, as Danielle said, in regard to strategy and the impact of the long run and how that will play out here tomorrow.
been the third time we've come up here, and I'm still shocked. When we walked around it this morning, some of those pictures with the skyscrapers in the background, we just heard they're going to add 10 minutes. So they'll have over 20 minutes to practice. Now, I don't know if the track, I'm going to try to clean it up with the speedy dry, but maybe that'll be a little dirty, a little dusty.
Yeah, luckily that where Denny's car ended up is offline a little bit of the exit of turn 6. So, but where he spun the car now was right in the racing groove, and there was a ton of fluid pouring out of that right exhaust pipe. Which sounds like we're hearing cars starting to put it in gear and pull away.
I love this driver cam. In-car camera. Full team audio. Watch NASCAR driver cam all season long. It's only on Max. If you're a fan, great way to get connected, take it to the next level.
Well, we already heard Mamba bragging about his bracket. That big wreck it was upset central. But remember, we're now basically in the round of 16. We started with 32, 16 were eliminated in Atlanta. Now we have 8 matchups. Brad Kozlowski's in a matchup right there against Ty Dillon, Bowman, Wallace, Nemechek. Those colors aren't random. So on the top of the windshields, the windshield banner will have the name in that color. So Bowman and Wallace, you could jump out, right? They're gonna look the same. So that's the left side of the bracket. Then we have a right side of a bracket with 4 other matchups, right? So 16 drivers total. There's the other side with Gregson, Priest, Hocevar. I got my eye on the Allmendinger Gibbs. I think that is a big matchup at the road course.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch. All these are going to be a lot of fun. And now that it's a little bit of a smaller group, it'll be a little bit easier for us to kind of understand what's happening as the race is rolling out. It was hectic and wide open at Atlanta last week. Alan's got Denny Hamlin. Let's see what he's got to say.
Yeah, Denny broke it down with the leadership at JGR. An unusual motor failure early on in your lap. Oh, first of all, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I hadn't even hit the gas yet. Came off turn 4, just started accelerating and blew the whole bottom out.
I can see it with the discussions. There's a certain level of frustration with this one about processes, what have you. Does something need to? Do you want to look at something in the future? What's triggering this?
Just a lot of things that we want to be in control as drivers. We want to be in control of our result. You don't want to have processes or mechanicals stop you from that. And obviously, this is a racetrack that is important to have reps, and we spend hours upon hours practicing and getting ready and all that stuff, and couldn't even make a pace lap before he blew up.
Tough start to the weekend for Denny Hamlin, guys. He wasn't the only one with questions. A lot of the other JGR drivers came right on the radio and said, what happened? Did he blow up? What was going on? They want to know what's happening. Unclear if there's a concern with all the JGR cars, but certainly the drivers are paying attention.
Yeah, that's frustrating now. You got to sit there and watch everybody else run laps, and as you're standing there, everybody else is getting smarter, getting faster, picking up on the differences in this racetrack compared to how it might have been last year. And these are there's not a lot of laps for these drivers in the dry. Since we've been coming here, the races have been shortened due to the darkness or weather, and a lot of laps on a really clean, dry racetrack. No telling what the weather's going to be like for tomorrow, but if you're Denny Hamlin, you'd love to be out here really kind of getting the limits understood and seeing how hard you can push the car.
Watching the 99, Daniel Suarez, newsmaker this week. It was announced he will not return to Trackhouse in 2026, and he just came through that tough little part of the racetrack there, so narrow between turns 4 and 5. Then the long run down Columbus to turn 6, where we saw Denny Hamlin have his issue a moment ago.
All the 19 of Chase Briscoe has gotten lost. This looks like turn 4. There's a lot of runoff on a couple of corners. There's not really anywhere to go to escape contact with a tire barrier or the walls themselves, but there are a couple of corners that do have some runoff, turn 4 being one, turn 11. I'm going to ride on board here down into turn 6. This is the one where a lot of drivers can miss that corner and end up in the tire barrier. There's no runoff in that corner. Over the hill down into turn 7.
This is now Michigan Ave, right? Straight up Michigan Ave.
And then this neat little kind of curve up over the hill here. There's some pretty good lateral grip here on this asphalt down into turn 10 and over to 11.
I didn't realize the elevation change through Congress Plaza, and then you can see it here, the up and down back over the train tracks from 11 to 12 before the right-hander to the start-finish line.
Right, and the restart zone is before turn 12, so you can fire off and the restart will happen before you actually turn and look at the start-finish line. So that'll be interesting to see what that creates for opportunities in terms of passing into turn 1 or even turn 2. We see turn 2, this corner right here, often being a corner late in the race when the restarts get physical. Guys get turned around, people start going 3 and 4 wide. I never anticipated turn 2 being the action corner on this racetrack, but that's kind of where a lot of things go down.
And this breaker right here, you see the car bounce and jump, and that makes that. And that corner you would think is slower. When you walk the track, that's pretty narrow, but it's almost kind of like they're skydiving into a little bit of a keyhole there, right? Like you got to get up over those bumps, and when the tires time to settle down, you twitch the car to the right, and you're running pretty fast through turn 4.
Yeah, when you're coming down Lakeshore toward turn 4, there's a bend, a little elbow in the straightaway that's turn 3, and then turn 4 is just another elbow, to be honest with you. It's not a 90-degree turn, so they go through it a lot faster than you anticipate. There's a very narrow part of the racetrack back here on the backside of the track. Again, you can't make mistakes here because you got barriers on both sides.
I love this plan right here, Dale. Sorry, this is Chastain behind him. I think that's not random. Right. I think they're sending him out behind SVG to get a little bit of that pacing, a little bit of that feel.
Yep. We've seen that in qualifying as well, where Ryan Preece went out and followed Chris Buescher in Mexico.
Yeah, so I'll switch all the way up. You have rears if you need them as you go.
Preece ended up qualifying on the front row, having that opportunity to chase his teammate. We're going to ride it on. Well, we're actually going to look at the replay here with SVG. You see how the car is jumping and launching over the bumps. This is in turn 4, where we talk about how different all of the patches of concrete and asphalt. It's a lot of different surfaces there, and they all really affect how the car gets into that braking zone there. And this is coming through turn 4. Looking back the other direction, and that tire barrier is right there if you make a mistake. Turn 5, you've kind of gotten the car a little bit slowed down for turn 5, so you open up to a big, long, wide straightaway coming out of 5. So that 4 and 5 section we thought would be slow when we started coming here.
That's right.
It's actually just really quick, bam, bam through there.
That turn 6, that's the highest entry speed on the racetrack. Yeah, north of 140 miles an hour heading into turn 6. And then you mentioned this slow section. I hate to use the word slow because this Congress Plaza, when we come up over this, where you're going to see the one turn right, they're over 90 miles an hour through this kind of sweeping bend right here, searching for some grip, trying to stay in position for this right-hander.
And there, see all the lateral grip that one car had, turning back to the left, coming around that bend. It's asphalt, and the cars just load up on the right rear and have tons of grip there. Alan, what you got on this one car?
Well, no one's surprised to see SVG up there on top of the board, but his teammate, Ross Chastain, just about a tenth behind him on track. What I learned today is all the Trackhouse cars came here set up exactly the same. That's not normally how the team does it when they bring 3 cars to the track, but they figured the process here this weekend, bring all 3 cars, exact same setup, and then judge after practice what changes were made, who did what. Maybe they could find some improvements. So Ross Chastain benefiting from some of that setup. Obviously, he's got a road course win in his pocket, but Ross Chastain putting down some good laps early on in this practice.
So I like the idea on paper. So when the drivers are talking about how their cars feel, they're feeling the same setup. But all I would caution is SVG's style is his own. He's like an artist. So is it Chastain. So, you know, certain parts of the car I think need to be engineered, and right's right. You know, it's most mechanical grip, best aero platform, things like that. But there are other items that you can customize for your driver to make it more comfortable. So you can't be stubborn making changes if Chastain needs something different. But how about Gregson right here, second on the board?
You know, he ran great earlier this year at Circuit of the Americas. Decent little road racer is Noah Gregson, and one of those drivers that survived the opening round in-season challenge, part of the round of 16, facing off this weekend with Ryan Preece.
Justin Haley in the 7 car for Spire coming through turn 4, and that car is really uncomfortable, bouncing and sliding, locking up the rear brakes. Just has to kind of that's that little runoff area where you can survive.
At that point, you feel like you've won, right?
Yeah.
You bounced all the way through there. You didn't hit anything. You reset, live to fight another day.
And when you know where those runoffs are, it allows you to really start to push the limits in those braking zones, and you have that, the ability to survive that mistake. But you get to find the limits in these other turns, like turn 6. You can't really work yourself up to that limit. You don't want to slide a tire there because you got nowhere to go but right into the tire packs. William Byron in this 24 car, sitting second on the board, has now bumped Gregson back. Only a 10th off of what Shane Van Gisbergen ran.
You saw his numbers. No slouch at the road course. There's no slouch anywhere we go, to be quite honest. Byron is really turning into that kind of, driver you would take to any track. I'm not sure there's a weak track for William Byron.
And if you look at the next gen era, Hendrick Motorsports really good at this style of racing. Won here a season ago with Williams' teammate Alex Bowman. Shane Van Gisbergen, top of the board, 9 minutes to go. Group 1 practice in Chicago. Had a slight delay because of an engine issue for Denny Hamlin here, Group 1 practice. 7 minutes to go in this first 25-minute session. Watching Joey Logano, reigning champ. 1 career win on the road. You see it here, Watkins Glen 10 years ago. What about the double deuce, Alan?
Yeah, 15th on the board right now. Came over the radio and said we're just really, really loose out there. Didn't get any more specific as in terms of where, but certainly a lot of drivers complaining about the bumps. He just says they're too loose, so they're going to come in, make an adjustment. With such limited time and just limited track time to have to come in and make an adjustment, the driver must want that change real bad, so they're going to come in, fix it, try to get some more data for him.
Yeah, there's 20 cars that have made laps in this group, and they're 15th out of 20. So when you think about the field, that's kind of roughly 30th on the board overall. And Cindric is 12th out of this group, so I'm a little concerned. I know that Blaney's up there in 4th with some decent speed, only 8/10 off the top speed. But this is kind of another Pensky related car here in the 21 of Josh Berry, and he's 19th. So a couple of Pensky cars struggling with the balance and speed.
And they're all in the first group. Yeah, I think that's also a challenge, right? This is done off the metric. Basically, they all had issues in Atlanta, so they're in the first group. If any of these cars would have kind of finished Atlanta, we could put a couple in the second group, maybe hear what they struggle with, make some changes. But with all four together, there's just not a lot of time to dissect. There'll be a lot of conversations, I think, about these Pensky cars. What are you hearing out of that 21, Danielle? Currently down there, 19th on the board.
Yeah, not sure it's going to get much better before time runs out here in this practice session, Stevie. His crew chief just came over the radio and said, guys, no time to make any changes. Sorry, Josh, you've just got to keep making laps.
Well, they were out on the track walk this morning, and I know Josh is going to try to get better. He had a atrocious race here last year, got into the tire barrier a couple times. And it looks like this is, you know, starting off to be a bit of a struggle today just to find speed. Last lap on the board was a 1:34.7. It's a second slower than his best lap, and that's three and a half seconds off of fast time. So just bleeding a lot of speed out there on the racetrack. Back on board with SVG here. SVG's now second on the board. Obviously, you see that Byron has went to the top with that 31 flat.
Last lap was way off for the 88, though. He must have had an issue of some sort. Let's try to find out where. I think this is turn 4 on board. The brakes bumpy.
Oh boy.
Nope. Nope. There's a moment where you got to decide right or left.
That's right.
That shows you how tough it is, right? Because he's the target by everyone, and he just misses turn 4.
But I love what you said earlier. You know, when you know you're going to one of those areas where you have runoff, you can push it and kind of find the line.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of something that Ross Chastain said when we were in Mexico City. I plan to be off track in practice, because if I'm not off track, I have not found the limits of the car and the track, and that's what this is for, right?
Well, I'd add, so you could go off track in 4 and 11. Those are the only two I think you can miss, because look at the 19 of Chase Briscoe right here. That's turn 6. No off track there, you're hitting something. Now you're going over the hill, going over the train tracks, down into turn 7. Take a look, driver's left. Where's he going if he misses this corner? Nowhere. Tire barrier. No, like, that's what I mean is I think when we talk about the streets, the reason guys have a hard time catching up when they're behind like Josh Berry is there is no room for error. It's not like Watkins Glen or Sonoma where you could blow a corner, go out on the gravel or in the grass, come in and, you know, try it again. You miss a corner here, there's a pretty good chance you're unloading the car.
Well, I've always said that road racing, don't write people off. Even though they have a problem, crazy things happen with strategy and so on. But here, you have a problem, it might very well be done, because there just aren't many options if you get off course.
I think you're in 3 groups. You're either contending, surviving, or waiting and see, right? I think Josh Berry's in the surviving group. He's 19th, right? Like, man, he just don't hit anything, try to make it all day long and see what happens. Byron, SVG, you know, they're at the top. They're contending. Briscoe's kind of that middle group, right? Like, I don't think Briscoe's bad. He's kind of in the middle of the pack. This is one day you just kind of got to get into stage 2 and see if the strategy comes your way, if the track continues to change.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, though, that if you're Berry, you're like, gosh, guy, I got to go find another second and a half, 2 seconds in me.
Agreed.
Right? And that's a ton of time to find on a road course or any racetrack for that matter. But, you know, you got to wonder, like.
But if I'm your crew chief, Dale, I know you know that. I'm having a real conversation. I'm like, hey, man, look, you're not going to find it in lap 1. Or lap
my goodness.
Well, because here's the difference, right? So now we have the guy at the top of the board. We just talked about no room for error.
Unbelievable.
And how difficult this is. So, you know, if I'm anyone else as crew chief, man, please don't put us in this position, right? This is such an easy mistake. We're heading into turn 10, the end of Congress Plaza, bumpy. Oh, yeah, loose.
Wow. So that's coming around turn 9 down into 10. And it's KO'd the right or the left rear toe link and probably some more of the rear suspension there on that left rear.
You know, this guy comes in, William Byron, regular season points leader, but only 37 in front of teammate Chase Elliott, who won last week. And if you look, they've had some bumps in the road in the last month or so. I go back to qualifying at Pocono, you know, and they spin it out there and have to repair that. Now you come from the back of the field, changes everything.
Same thing there, too. You know, we thought they were the best car in practice at Pocono. And that's what I'm finding a bit uncharacteristic of William Byron is in this, and you know, with Pocono and here, appearing to be one of the best cars on the racetrack and making very rookie-like mistakes. Shocking, almost, to see it. Because to your point, Steve, I feel like you're right that he's sort of evolving into this all-around, really awesome race car driver that's going to go out there and contend for those championships. He's been the guy that can make the Final Four, but now we're starting to see him evolve into the guy that can go out there and win it all. But these are the things that we are not used to seeing out of William.
That little bobble can be a 20, 30-point mistake. Right, like you have a little issue. You may or may not get out qualifying. We'll have to see where the race kind of unfolds for him.
Christopher Bell in this 20 car.
How good has he been on the road lately? You know?
Yeah, he's.
You know what we haven't brought up? I didn't mean to jump and change the conversation to see the end of practice. Just real quick, the issues we saw have been Byron and Denny Hamlin. Let's remind everybody, this rarely happens. 41 vehicles here today for 40 spots. Someone has loaded up, came all the way to Chicago, and they're not going to run the race, right? The 36 charter cars are in, but there's 5 open cars for 4 spots. So if you're one of those cars, you absolutely can't afford a mistake like that. You'll miss the race.
And a couple of those guys really performed here in practice. Will Brown looking to make his second career start, jumps up to 3rd. He's in a 3rd car for Colleague. And Corey Hine, the birthday boy, driving a 4th car for 23:11. Solid in practice. He's 8th. The man who was quickest got some work to do. William Byron into the looking to make his second career start, jumps up to 3rd. He's in a 3rd car for Colleague. And Corey Hine, the birthday boy, driving a 4th car for 23:11. Solid in practice. He's 8th.
Demeanor if you jump in in the fountain.
I was told that back in 2023.
Yeah, 2023?
I on national television said if I won, I'd jump in there, and then I was promptly informed by many officials from the city of Chicago that I would be arrested.
Well, you finished 4th, right, in that race?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go to him first then, Jamie, because he's
Well, I
had
was
a better
hoping your
finish.
pinch me moment was that you were with us,
Oh, well,
not that
that's
we were in
absolutely,
Chicago.
yeah, we're going to get some
You
pizza
can go to Parker.
a
Go
little
ahead.
bit longer.
I'll just stay out of
later.
it.
All right, you want to sit back?
I'll
You
stay
guys
out
have
of
a
it.
lot
Go
to
ahead,
sort
Parker.
out. Maybe we should do this off camera.
All right, so let's go to you first because you do have some track time. I believe you walked the track as well. We walked it this morning. There are some differences, right? Some parts that have been repaved. What kind of stands out to you from what you've seen from practice so far?
Well, first of all, that's what's so special about street course racing is the dynamicism of it. So it evolves throughout the weekend as we lay rubber, and you don't know what you're going to have until you get there, because just up until a couple days ago, these were city streets being run on by trucks and cars, being oil spills, you name it. It's always evolving and changing. There's tons of different asphalt surfaces around this racetrack that Dale mentioned in Turn 4, which I think is probably one of the most difficult braking zones, not just in NASCAR, but probably the motorsports worldwide. It's an incredibly difficult corner. If I had to point out some things that really stuck out to me, though, it's those Team Pensky cars. All outside the top 10, 3 of them there, including Josh Berry, you know, with his affiliation with the Wood Brothers and Team Pensky. That's not a good look, including Austin Cindric, a good road racer. So they obviously have missed the balance there. And then Will Brown, the supercars racer, you know, he's the one who replaced SVG when SVG came over here to NASCAR at AAA in Australia last year. He was on the podium for every race of the Australian Supercar season.
Look at that, Parker with a fun fact.
No, he was third. It was fast.
Is dynamicism a word? Is that an actual word?
I just made it up.
Okay, all right then.
So what stuck out to me about that practice, Parker talked about the track changing. I think about Denny Hamlin, who doesn't get any practice. That's really hard, and Dale and Steve referenced that. It's hard to sit. I mean, you could see the disappointment as Alan was interviewing him in his face, just trying to get, you want to get on the track. I mean, it's such a unique place, and it changes every single year, and the fact that he didn't get any practice, massive disappointment. But I did like seeing the Trackhouse cars right off the truck. Both Chastain and Shane obviously were really quick. Noah Gragson was pretty impressive. I thought John Hunter Nemechek looked like he had a pretty good car. Don't think about him as being a road racer. So a few surprises there in that first practice.
William Byron, a little bit of a surprise as well when we saw what happened.
Disappointment, not a surprise.
And that way that happened, that was awkward. He turned in super late there for turn 10. You can see the marks on the racetrack which indicate where the cars kind of go and the natural course of the line. He was way outside that, so I don't know. We'll have to dive in deeper and find out what was happening there, because he turned in super late, and that ended up having him in the wall, which was tough.
All right, as we go to Mamba. Mamba, you know, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it. Do you know what I'm talking about, Mamba?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
What is it? You got to tell me. You got to tell me. Do you know?
Yeah, well, no, yes, I do, but I can't think of it right now.
So he doesn't actually know.
I'm locked in right now because I'm on the front stretch, okay? This is where some of the best seats are for the fans. They got the stage where Zach Brown is going to be. We got this awesome skyline right behind it. And, of course, you guys are just referencing it. William Byron and the whole field is right here, so the fans can watch the work that is going on. I think that's super cool because usually we're so far away. Now, Parker and Jamie, this track is so rough. It's so bumpy. With these cars, how difficult is it? It seems like we're seeing a lot more mistakes this weekend out of the best drivers in the world than we normally see.
Mamba, I always came to a track like this, or even a road course, and it was like this 90% rule. I only ran at 90%, and what Shane Van Gisbergen has going for him is that his 90% is really fast in relation to most of the others. You see guys step across the line. It's just so interesting to watch those guys that can run at 90% and have the speed that they do, and it's just kind of what you have to go by here. If you don't have the speed, you're going to have to go back and try to figure that out.
You got to get to the edge, but you literally can't go over it except for in turn 4 and turn 11. Otherwise, you will meet the wall, and these cars don't want to touch the wall.
It's so crazy to think 2 years ago when Shane Van Gisbergen won this race, we could barely say his last name. Now we all know
now
who
it's
he
just
is.
common.
Yeah,
they all know who he is
we all
behind
know
us right here,
SVG.
trust me.
We got more coming up. We got some practice coming up. 25 minutes. We've seen so much happen so far. William Byron hit the wall. Pensky struggled.
I just idiot. I'm an idiot. So I just took a lot of shape through there and a lot of speed, obviously, and I was just kind of getting my tires cleaned back off from leaving pit road. So
was that a different approach you had taken earlier, and why? Was that a different approach you had taken?
No, I just pitted, so my tires are probably just kind of coming up to tip again. And I took it easy the first half of the lap, and I was starting to push, getting close to the alternate start-finish, and yeah, just lost traction.
We know the car has speed. Is any of that salvageable?
Yeah, I'd be fine. It just sucks starting from the back, and just don't like crashing, so yeah.
All right, William Byron, he was really frustrated, guys. He got out of the car with a fast car, just rubbing his forehead, as you said.
Instead of using the start-finish line on the front stretch, it's over between 11 and 12. Just the idea is it kind of limits a lap, right? You'll be able to start your lap there and finish it there. That's disappointing for the 24.
Riding high. Byron's teammate Chase Elliott, huge win, home track last Saturday night. Echo Park Speedway, the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. And a really good road racer is Chase. Let's go back and relive what was an epic event. Just such a fun race.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And again, like Steve mentioned, the alternate start-finish line is on the backside of the racetrack, so we're a couple corners into this lap.
That minute 19 you heard, that was how long it took from the exit of pit road to start your lap, because in group qualifying, they may want to make a dash at the end of practice or end of qualifying. They need to know if they have enough time to get a lap started. That's what that information was.
Let's try to ride on board here through this turn 4. This will be his first real hard entry into this part of the racetrack. Really bumpy. Grabs another gear right there. It starts on to this long straightaway down Columbus toward turn 6. And while Parker and myself both think that turn 4 is a challenging braking zone, I think the one that worries me the most is that turn 6, because of the lack of runoff. Any kind of mistake usually gets you stuck in the tires. Now just a couple more corners away from finishing the lap, so that's something you got to think about as a driver. Is like, hey, almost to the finish here, want to keep pushing hard. This is where William Byron gotten in trouble right here.
Man, that looked like a pretty clean lap. Let's see where right there's the start finish. 1:33.3, so still good. I mean, he's over 2 seconds. You talk about how fast Byron was.
Yeah.
Flipping some switches with his left hand. I mean, they're busy in here. Look at the speed on the center, right? 133 miles an hour. First gear corner. That's that number above the speed, right? So you have miles per hour, and just above it is the gear selector.
Ty Gibbs in the 54 had such a great run going in Mexico. Lost a little track position, but this is a car that, and a driver that I think comes to this racetrack and thinks he's got a really solid shot. He's ran good here in both the races we've had at the street course. Really, at one point, was kind of the only person that could challenge Shane Van Gisbergen at being one of the quicker drivers here. Alan, what you got?
Well, Dale, I don't know if you believe in momentum, if you can quantify that, but we can quantify, lessons learned and success at certain tracks. I was talking to Ty Gibbs' crew chief, Tyler Allen, this morning, and he said, look, what we learned here in Chicago last year, we applied that to Mexico just a few weeks ago. Look how well we ran. They were running, just had the bad side of the strategy. They're taking those lessons from Mexico, and they're applying that here to Chicago, and they expect to have a really, really good weekend. So we can see the lessons learning. The team believes that they can build on the successes they're having at these road courses, and they really feel this weekend's going to be great for them.
been a miserable season, but as Alan mentions, their performance on the road courses is the bright spot and the opportunity I think the team sees coming into a race like this. Like, hey, we've got to make something happen. After this, you have Sonoma, another opportunity where maybe this 54 could find victory lane, but running out of chances.
You got, Sonoma next week, as you said. Watkins Glen comes before the playoffs as well. So plenty of opportunities and two drivers that could very well get it done. We talk about Gibbs, right behind him, Alex Bowman, who won this race a year ago. And add to the list Tyler Reddick on board here with a driver from California who almost closed the deal and ran down Van Gisbergen here a season ago.
Bowman, he was running down Bowman. Bowman was on wets. Reddick was on slicks and coming in a big hurry and made a simple mistake right here. He turned into turn 4 normally, and then right here in turn 5, he actually hit it with his right door.
Yep.
And kind of just slid him up. He had to chop the gas one time, and that was it. That was the difference. And here he is trying to work on the 48 again a year later. There's that turn 6 you mentioned, Dale.
How about that paint scheme for Reddick? We talk about the second place finish here last year, but representing the brand in Michael's City, right?
Oh, I love this look right here. His feet are going to be busy right here. A lot of part throttle. Couple downshifts. You kind of blip the throttle for the downshifts to make them smoother. Gibbs goes to 3rd on the board. Reddick 3rd on the board. Wallace top of the board. How about Bubba Wallace? 23:11 fastest car.
Good lap, P4 overall.
23. The number 23 in Chicago just kind of go together, right?
Well, and they're all in line. We saw this earlier with the Trackhouse cars, right? So you have Gibbs, Bowman, Reddick, Bubba. I think this is a great, like at the big oval where they have great pace. I'm like, hey, man, don't dirty up the air. Go get a good read for your car. Here, I kind of think it's just as important to get into a rhythm. Dale, as a driver, do you like having somebody in front just to kind of judge it all off from and have just some eye line, kind of all these different tight corners?
Yeah, next to Mexico, I don't know a track where the drivers feel, that the track is as unfamiliar, because you just don't have the opportunity to really do anything in terms of making laps here. And again, we had a lot of weather and a lot of rain over the last couple of races we've had at this racetrack, so not a lot of really clean, dry, hard laps. You can do all you want in the sim, but even the sim is very imperfect on this street course. So to be able to go out there, yes, go out there, find a driver that you trust can run the good, clean laps, and watch his braking zones, do exactly what they're doing, try to do a little bit more, go a little bit further into the corner to make the gains you want.
23 P1, Bubba Wallace, Alan.
Yeah, good stuff for Bubba Wallace there. Remember, he's got his new crew chief this year, Charles Denike. I was talking with him before the practice, and he comes to every one of these races without a notebook, right? He's relying on the team data from last year at the previous races. And the last road course we were at, Bubba finished 12th. That's nothing to write home about for some people, but for that team, for Bubba, it was something to build on, and that's the momentum they're bringing here to Chicago. Fastest in practice right now.
If you go back to COTA, it was 23-11 cars in the front row, Reddick and Bubba Wallace. And Bubba actually got a penalty early, but they played a little strategy and won a stage, and he could utilize that coming to this event. Only 23 above the cut line. Wallace at the top, Byron right behind him, Gibbs, McDaniel.
just over those bumps, the back of the car gets wheel hopping and kind of chirping, and wisely just goes left, right? If you keep turning the wheel to the right to try to make it, eventually that thing's going to swap ends. Oh, it doesn't look much more secure. Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's just right rear, or the rear stepped out just a little bit in the braking zone of that turn down into turn 7, and you can hear the tires chirping as he's laterally loaded the car on throttle.
Talk about momentum. And he was a driver that last week was right there at the end of Atlanta. And you saw the graphics, 6th in this race a season ago. Not known for his road racing, more of a drafting guy when you talk about the strengths of their program, but he adapted quite well and put it in the top 10 here a season ago.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that doesn't, I wouldn't be worried at all. They're sitting 32nd on the board, but he's a bulldog. So if
he is a bulldog.
You give him the track and say, oh boy, you see the rear of the car locking up and braking there, and there's no runoff into one.
And well, here's the problem. So now that's happened in rights, it's in lefts. Yeah. So that's something, and now maybe they just don't have time, 12 minutes left, but rear braking stability is the first thing on my list. My driver needs to have a little bit more security on these braking zones. Let's see if he does better in the turn 4.
My thought was that if you give him the track position in the race, he's the bulldog. He'll make everyone that wants that track position back earn it.
That was why I loved last week that Mike Kelly put him on the aggressive late in the race, because this is the kind of guy you want to be on the attack. And hey, you look at the top 5, you got 2 from Team Spire. Among them, 4th right now, Michael McDowell in the 71. Big opportunity for this group this weekend at Chicago, Danielle.
Well, Michael McDowell right now sitting 4th on the board in that Spire number 71. Remember, guys, he finished 5th here on the Chicago street course last year and is one of only 3 drivers to finish top 10 in both Chicago races, Ty Gibbs and Kyle Busch being the other 2. His crew chief just said right now doing a really good job, a little hot into 4, but you're really strong into turn 1.
Trying to coach his driver along. They have kind of a split times and overall pace versus other cars into this turn 6 braking. Let's see, the back of his car just looks more secure versus Ricky's, right? Like every time he gets on the brakes, it doesn't look like it wants to swap ends.
I get the Paul Blue Demon paint scheme. Chicago school, part of the Big East. Big East hoops coming to Turner Sports this winter.
Man, I'm going to tell you, Big East. When I was growing up, I don't even know if they had referees in the Big East. Like if it wasn't bloody, it wasn't a foul in the Big East.
There are coaches that would argue they still don't.
I'm telling you, man. I grew up in Maine. There's some Big East matchups down there in southern New England. Man, there's some great matchups. Mr. Consistent on the road courses. I think he's the Dragon Slayer, right? We talk about SVG. He won here the first time, wrecked the second. We have him as the favorite of every road course. We go to Watkins Glen. Chris Buescher and SVG go toe-to-toe, heavyweight battle, trading punches, and out the other side came Chris Buescher, right? And that, to me, that was a moment for the whole garage. I think they all walked around like, you're my guy, Chris. Thank you for beating this guy who's come over here and made it look so easy.
Yeah, he's got a 10th and a 20th place finish in the 2 races we ran here. But we all know that his road course stuff's pretty good, pretty solid. And I've got him picked to go all the way.
I knew it was coming.
I was just wondering. I didn't know.
Sorry.
I don't know if the bracket was going to pop up.
Bracket's going to get mentioned by me when Chris Buescher is on the screen. Because that's my guy.
Have you told him?
He's going up. Well, he probably knows. He's going to match up against Zane Smith. Zane, not a rollover, not an easy out. But I think Chris has the advantage, you know, due to his abilities on the road courses.
I'm going to try not to jinx him, and as we look at from high above, just first of all, great shots to just show the city streets, right? It's such a cool look for all these, but he just looks...
He finished 17th here last year, so again, like not an easy out, not an easy pass through into the next round, but
and those young drivers at front row have been very competitive on the road. We talked earlier about Noah Gregson. We've seen it out of Todd Gilliland and Sam Smith as well.
And Zane's still a driver who's trying to prove that he belongs here. Maybe he doesn't hear the tires squealing.
Good Lord.
This place really challenges, the drivers can really challenge the grip level and keep the car sort of at that edge of losing grip or losing traction. Right now with Keselowski in this 6.
He's got a matchup against your favorite guy, Adam.
Ty Dillon.
Ty Dillon.
Hey, how about this? Ty Dillon, and I know, you know, Mamba was patting himself on the back with the upset of Hamlin, but how about Ty Dillon this week on social media saying, no, I eliminated your favorite driver,
so good.
And then he embraced it, which was outstanding. Yeah. But it's Ty Dillon that goes head-to-head with Brad Keselowski. I feel like that's going to be a tremendous matchup to watch during the race tomorrow.
Brad isn't terribly noted. He's not noted as a very expert road course racer, but he is 10th on the board right now. And it's number 6. Ty Dillon has struggled, 35th on the board after his 8 laps on the racetrack. So,
78, Catherine Legg coming into pit road. Currently, she's found a little pace, 134.0, Balicki 133.6. They will, right now, they look like to be head-to-head to make the race. It's going to be a lot of fun qualifying.
41 cars, 40.
Looks like it's a lot of damage. Well, let me show you what happened, and you tell me. Now I feel the damage isn't that bad, because take a look. Entering 6. My goodness.
Yeah.
Now the damage looks pretty good.
Are we okay?
No, we are not okay.
So to Steve's point, like, you know, they back this car into the garage or the pit stall and take a look at it, and you think, wow, man, it's kind of rubbed the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
Nothing serious.
Right.
That was quite the contact. So now you got to look at toe links and other things to make sure everything's okay there. But the body, for the most part, survived the accident pretty well. So
yeah, that hook seam would be an issue at Michigan, but here we're just going to let it go.
She's got to be able to get out there and get a lap in qualifying.
That's right.
And so this is really critical for that team to be able to get that car on the racetrack and for her to feel comfortable.
I just want to see, Dale, if you are going to say anything. I mean, here's Zane Smith. He's here to eliminate Chris Buescher from the bracket.
Oh, boy.
And you look, and he's charging the corner, tires squealing.
Getting after it.
I'm gonna lean in, and I'm gonna give the drivers a little bit of a hat tip, though. They have been fun to watch on social media. So I've really leaned in. They're doing some nice, polite, you know, kind of talking back and forth. You mentioned Ty Dillon. I eliminated your favorite driver. These front row guys always find something to talk about. Noah being one of them. Noah sent a picture of Priest in the rearview mirror. Said he was going to be there all day, and then Priest, this was a pretty good counter move. He sent a picture of Noah in the tire barrier and told him he should just stay looking out his windshield. It was a nice, healthy talk back and forth. Let's listen in to the 9.
I got it good right there. Really good. Tires had no grip. Left side, I'm assuming? Left side, just, yeah, pancaked it.
Oh, man.
Like William did, or similar? More square, but probably as hard, if not harder.
Byron just went to second on the board.
Talking about the 9 of Chase Elliott, now an update on his teammate, Alex Bowman, Alan.
Yeah, last year's winner, the team has spent the last 5+ minutes doing an extensive repair back there on the left rear, including replacing a toe link. Not much talk on the radio as to the incident which caused this. Alex Bowman had just been talking about the handling of the car, charging it in to turns 4 and 6. Not pretty unclear at the moment where that damage came from, but they are still heavy at work trying to replace that toe link and get it all repaired for qualifying.
11th on the board right now for last year's winner, Alex Bowman.
They had a toe link sitting on the asphalt right there. If we go point down a little bit, we'll see this is the part right here. This is what they're changing. Oh, wait, whoa. That's user error. Hold on. Oh, now they picked it up. Come on, guys. You know what? If you can't use the telestrator properly, you're not going to get to see the part.
Just to confirm, the user was you. I mean, it was user error, and you were the one doing the user.
I called myself out on air. I think that's fair.
To make sure, yeah.
Well, that's 3
strikes. Is that what you're going to tell me?
Yeah.
I've messed up 3 times already. Man.
We're going to ride on board with Chase Elliott and see what kind of issue he had here. Turn 4 again. Oh, man. You know, I
got it good right there.
That's way down into the braking zone. Here's a great look at it.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah. Man. So that's, that just continues to speak to how difficult this corner is.
I'm surprised we haven't seen more of it down there.
Well, honestly. I'm surprised we're seeing as much as we have because, again, like I feel like that I was down in that corner for the first race here, and everybody expected that to be a very deep, hard, slow braking zone where you'd really have to get the car stopped to turn into turn 4. But it's not as a sharp a corner as we expected. It's a bend. They go through there very fast. They do brake, and they have problems over the bumps in the braking zone itself. We've seen cars miss the corner and go forward into the runoff. But we are now seeing this driver right here, Chase Elliott, one of the best at it on road courses, miss the apex and get into the wall there. So it's gonna, and again, it speaks to, I think this is the first real time, the real chance these guys have had to push the cars in the dry in a long time. They're finding new limits.
Blaney said it's like a cattle chute down there in turn 4. Practice is done. Qualifying coming up. Top 5, Wallace, Byron, Elliott, Gibbs, McDowell. But put an asterisk there. A lot of drivers having trouble. Down there in turn 4. Practice is done. Qualifying coming up. Top 5, Wallace, Byron, Elliott, Gibbs, McDowell. going to be a part of our coverage over on the CW. And well, that means he's left Jamie and Shannon. He's no longer at the NASCAR Nation desk.
But you're on the coverage too.
I find this highly controversial.
It was too warm for him, and he had to stop and get something to eat. There's pizza everywhere, so we let him go, right?
Yeah, well, Parker left, and all of a sudden Shannon wants to talk to me. It's incredible how this works, Shannon.
I love you, Jamie McMurray. We're going to talk a lot. I want to talk about Turn 4. I walked that this morning in that track walk. Early, and I said to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who I was walking with, it looks like you can fit 2-ish cars through that, and we've seen guys with one car have a problem through that area.
Well, yeah, I mean, the struggle with the track is that it's really wide in some areas, and as you said, it funnels down and gets tight, but it's also the surface is different in short spans. You can see the shadows there, some of that, but there's some surfaces. You see all these guys locking up the brakes. I mean, this is where you make up time, right? You make up a little bit of time at every single corner. The braking zones are where you make up a lot of time in road courses. This has an escape route. Dale and Steve and Adam have hit on that quite a bit. Like, these are the corners that you would want to take a chance in because you have an escape route. Some of these other areas, if you make a mistake, where Byron or Chase, when you get in there, if you're in a little bit hot, you pay a consequence. And if I've heard toe link once today, Shannon, I have heard it 300 times in the last 30 minutes.
It's a drinking word of the day for sure. Let's check in with Danielle Trotta, who's down there with Carson Hocevar right now. Danielle, what you got?
Yeah, right now, Shannon, Carson Hocevar 6th in that practice, very happy with the car and happy with this course overall. Carson, what is it about Chicago that you take to and like so much?
I mean, number one, being racing in the city is really fun, but just being on the limit of everything, being on the limit of, hitting the wall on entry and then hitting the wall on apex and hitting the wall on exit. And, there's a massive limit that either it forces me to slow down because you're going to hit the wall, or somehow it all works because I'm on the limit everywhere, and the limit here is how you go fast. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Ziggo Auto Group, Hendrick Engine Shop, everybody puts together good race cars. For me, I don't know why I'm fast at road courses. Sometimes I don't know why I'm slow, and here it's nice to be fast so far, and hopefully we can continue that. Because there's times where I'm very hit or miss on road courses, and ready for the ovals, and then sometimes I come here and I'm excited. So today's so far the excitement day.
Look at this permagrin on Carson Hocevar's face. I love it. You came in a little bit early. I heard your crew chief say the conditions tomorrow, Carson, are just going to be far different than they are right now. It's so hot, it's sunny. Tomorrow, chance of rain and cloudy. What do we expect from the car, and how do you adjust that setup-wise and approach-wise?
Yeah, I mean, for us, ultimately, it was, they just didn't want to have to work on this thing. They want to hopefully get to qualifying good and qualify good and start up front, just how difficult it is to pass. And if it does rain, you're going to want to just be able to see and everything. So, yeah, I figured, lap 5, 6, I'm starting to get pushed more, be on the limit more, and the tires going away, and that's just a bad combination. So I was like, I'm good if you're good, and he said, I'm good if you're good, and we kind of just both mutually agreed, all right, let's just be done before you knock a toe link off or something, or just because how close you are to the, just hitting the wall. So, watching some other guys fix their stuff, I think we made the right call, and being 6th in practice, hopefully we can take that speed and move on here.
He's happy, he's smiling, he's fast, and he's finished 2nd twice in the Cup Series, guys. We'll see if he can get his first career win tomorrow. Mamba.
I'm down here on Lakeshore Drive. Look at this also. This is a nice little view of shooting through the trees of Lake Michigan, all the sailboats. Everyone's having a good time out there, and everyone's having a good time in here. This is turn 2. You can see where some people have already had some issues. There's some tire marks headed to the tire barriers. Jamie, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about turn 4. It seems like that has been the hot spot. Dale and Steve and Adam have been talking about it all afternoon. Talking to AJ Allmendinger when we were doing the track walk, there's a lot of things going on over there. It's an off-camber right-hander. You're going over concrete, back to asphalt, back to concrete, and then trying to, make the corners. So that seems, Jamie, to be the most difficult part of this racetrack, bar none.
Yeah, well, Mamba, with the exception of Dale, Steve, and Adam, who are in the air-conditioned booth, I think everywhere around here is a hot spot right now.
Yeah, look at that shot, though, Jamie. I mean, beautiful. This is everything right here. You take a look at this beautiful scenery that these drivers get to race in. We get to work in this weekend in one of the greatest cities in America, absolutely. Oh, that lake, everything about this place is awesome. Shane Van Gisbergen absolutely thinks it's awesome as well. He was fast. You got the 24 headed to the garage. We've had some Hendrick Motorsports issues in this practice session, but we're going to see how they're going to line them up for the race tomorrow. Oh, boy. This is not going to end well. Okay. Oh, I thought he was going into the wall. We'll be right back.
I'm driver data, multi-view options, and full team audio. Watch NASCAR Driver Cam all season long, only on Max. Getting ready for qualifying. Give us a little setup of what we're going to see in the rules of the game, Steve.
Well, we have a couple groups, but they're going to be qualifying to the alternate start-finish line, which means their lap will start right here. You see that white line on your screen? That is exiting turn 11 before the restart zone, before turn 12. So consider that kind of your start-finish line. You start your lap there, you come all the way around, and your lap there. Now, the beauty of group qualifying is you can run as many laps as you want. You have a window of time. We've split the field in half, and we'll get it all done. Basically, you are qualifying against everyone. So we'll see if track conditions improve or get cleaned up. We saw the 24 and the 9 both have issues in practice. I think they're now both back in the garage here, Alan.
Yeah, and I'm with the 9, pretty lonely back here. You can see this is the Chicago street course version of the garage. The track back that way, so they push the 9 all the way back here. We can kind of get a better look at the damage. It's the left rear. All we know, something with the suspension is broken. They're not going to go out there and make a qualifying lap. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson just told me it's not a backup car situation. They are going to be able to fix it, but some sort of suspension issue that they're going to have to fix. We asked Chase for a comment. What happened going into turn 4, coming off the corner? He declined comment right now. A little frustrated after having a fast car again. Just kissing that wall.
When I look at that 9, it's not really the damage on the body, it's the damage on that aluminum wheel. That's what I kind of look at to see how much it could have bent the suspension.
And that's 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars with some trouble in practice. Quite alarming, honestly, to see that happen to that team. And You know, Alex Bowman also was replacing some suspension parts to the left rear of his car.
Yep. So you see the time remaining. My goal here would be to kind of go out. I don't think the tires really slow down much. Go out, put one lap down, let your driver come back, think about it, see what the pace of the track is, and then you could let everything cool for maybe 10 or 12 minutes and go back out if you need to.
And there it is. That alternate start-finish line gets you going for a lap here at Chicago. Austin Cindric, good road racer, winner earlier this year, Talladega Superspeedway, locked into the playoffs, driving the 2 for Roger Pensky.
Yeah, Riley Herbst, that white car behind him. Sorry, Dale, chasing the 2. I think that's by design.
I don't know if I'd be chasing the 2 because the Pensky car struggled in practice earlier. This 2 was 28th overall.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is catch him.
I'd be curious to see, though, you know, how if any speed they will gain from some adjustments they could have made between practice and qualifying. Here, Riley was 30th, right behind Austin in practice. It's an awesome shot of the cars going through turns 4 and 5.
Drivers you see in our pylon are the 20 that will be a part of this Group 1 session, record a time here, and see how it all blends together after Group 2 has their opportunity.
This tire is the tire that we ran in COTA and Mexico City. It has a little bit more wear and fall off than the tire we ran at Chicago last year. The teams think the fall off might fall somewhere in the middle, Steve, between COTA and Mexico City, but still, I wonder what that might, you know, play into strategy. We know that the teams want to be on pit road as limited amount as possible, so maybe one stop is possible, or at least flipping the stage of stage 2 and running all the way to the end. But with this tire and how it has shown some degradation over the races we've used in this year, it's possible you could see somebody take advantage of new tires late in the race. Also in qualifying, you know, you're going to go out there early in this session, go ahead and put a lap down. Does the tire have enough ability to go back out there and fire off and be able to run an even better lap? Or is their lap time, you know, is the fall off or the lap time lost from lap to lap too much to overcome?
Yeah, watching these guys compared to themselves, they're looking like they're actually trending better. Like the lap doesn't quite give up, or the tire doesn't give up the first lap. But to your point about the 2's overall speed, we see Hill and Custer jump above him instantly. Gregson down the top of the board by a big margin, 0.7 of a second faster than Cindric.
You know, Custer jumps up there, was P1, now P2, had a great qualifying run at Mexico City. Finished 6th in that race and was really good the next week in qualifying at Pocono.
Noah was 14th overall in practice, and now at the top of the board, just about 3/10 quicker than what he ran in practice. Cole Custer came all the way from 31st in practice up to 2nd overall right now, and he's improved 0.8, almost a full second.
Custer won the Xfinity race here a couple of years ago. Mentioned Austin Hill up there in the top 5 doing double duty this weekend. Full-time on the Xfinity side as Riley Herbst now jumps to the top. And if you go back to Mexico City, remember he qualified inside the top 15 at a very competitive race car when we were there last month.
30th overall in practice, and now he improved by more than a second on his practice time.
Will Brown, P1 in the 13, that 3rd entry for Team Colleague.
I think the 13 tried to get a decent lap down to make sure he was in the race. One of those cars that needed to qualify in and then could really put a flyer out there.
Custer improves again, up to 4th. And he's going to come down pit road.
Yolan to 2nd in that Grillo pickle machine. Popular paint scheme in the garage. Right there to 2nd. Good for him.
You know, his best career finish on a road course, Indianapolis, his rookie campaign. Finished top 5 before we went back oval racing at the Brickyard. A lot of good young talent inside the top 10. Speaking of which, 67 Corey Heim, one of the last 3 road races in the Truck Series where he competes full-time.
Yeah, I talked to this group yesterday, and they were the team that kind of got me onto that strategy of, hey, we're going to just ask them to go run what we think is a good enough lap to make the field, see where that shakes out, and then kind of let them loose. But And we've saw, look at the stacked talent that have had issues, right? Chase Elliott and those guys. So right now, Heim is the slowest.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that. He ran
slower than Bullock.
He ran a whole second faster in practice. Corey Heim did in that 67. I'm wondering if he had an issue on his lap because he didn't continue to run. He came to pit road after making just one single lap on the racetrack. So is there some contact somewhere as you're watching this 42 car struggle? Just overdriving that final corner.
All hands on.
Missing the exit there, having to kind of stop the car out of the wall there, just right at the point where you want to be accelerating.
And I'm with you, that Heim. So I had the 66 of the go or go homers in practice needing the most pace, but he's ahead of Heim. So either too conservative a lap or an issue. But that's going to be the story for this last 12 minutes for me, right? Is can Heim go out there? Can he get his composure? Can he put a better lap on the feet, on the board? Remember, Denny Hamlin, the 11, won't run. Neither the 24 of Byron. So those two names will stay shaded.
Ryan Blaney out on track. His teammates have already made a lap here. Group 1 qualifying. Logano 6th, Cindric 9th on the board. Blaney has one on the road. Got it done at the Roval a number of years ago. But it's been a while since he finished top 5 in a road race. So he's trying to regather his rhythm as driver 12.
Most of the Pensky cars all struggled in practice. This car did not. What did they bring to the racetrack that maybe their teammates can add to their cars, if anything?
Yeah, it's crazy. I look at these Pensky cars and I think about qualifying last week and how they just dominated the session on Friday. If you throw Josh Berry in there from the Wood Brothers, they take the front 2 rows, then they get involved in those crashes. They have no fruit for their labor. So you come to this weekend, practice didn't go great for them. We'll see how it nets out in qualifying and ultimately what strategy they can employ here tomorrow to make something out of it in the race.
11, Timmy. Copy, thank you. Two laps here. Everyone's faster on the second.
So we worried about Corey Heim and maybe some problems on his lap, and here's the contact. Oh, he had a big moment. And you can see the left rear's bent. The toe link may be bent on that left rear. It looks like it's towed out to me, Steve, from this contact right here.
I agree. Obviously, it didn't break. The tire would be going back and forth, but it's bent, shortening it up, pointing that tire to the left, which means it's going to be very hard for Heim to improve. Slowest of the cars here that need to qualify, Catherine Legg in the next group. That'll be basically her target time. She has to outrun Heim, and that will be a major hit for Toyota in 2311 if Corey Heim, you pointed out his truck numbers, unbelievable. Missing or not making the show was not even a consideration, I think, for the 67 car.
Well, the contact with the wall would not, would not result in a whole full second lost in time. He had to drive the remainder of that lap, quite a few corners, with that toe link bent. Very, very uncomfortable, and still ran a 32.9, just 1 second off of what he practiced. So I'm actually kind of impressed with his ability to go ahead and complete the lap and maybe put down enough of a lap time to get him into the race.
Yep.
Blaney coming back to that alternate start-finish line off of turn 11. See where he flashes. Up to 9th, Danielle.
Adam, wouldn't surprise anybody if this guy, Michael McDowell, won the race tomorrow and punched his ticket to the playoffs, given how good he is on road courses and how fast you were in practice, Michael. As you watch this group qualify, what are you thinking to make your lap?
I think everybody has all eyes on SVG here to see how big of a lap he puts up. But really proud of everybody at Spire Motorsports. We got a fast Chevy. Yeah, we didn't have the outright just quick 1-lap speed, but 5-lap, 10-lap, it held on really good. So looking forward to that for the race tomorrow. But today's all about that 1 lap, so we'll see if we can get this DePaul University car up front, maybe start on the pole. Haven't had a road course pole yet, so it's a big to-do. Hopefully we got the car to do it today. But it's a tough place. I mean, you just got to put it right on the line, and you take big chances for a big lap and hope it pays off.
You haven't had a pole on a road course, but you did have a top 5 in this race last year, so we wish you the best of luck tomorrow. Let's send it back up to Adam.
Chase Briscoe jumped to third.
Yeah, I wanted to make a point right here watching this 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen run around the racetrack, and right behind him is Suarez in the 99, trending just a 10th down from Brown's time, now even in the green.
Shane Van Gisbergen goes to the top, and right behind him, there he is following along, Daniel Suarez.
So Daniel, that was, I feel like, pretty smart of Daniel to go out there and follow his teammate. Daniel was 34th in practice, way down the sheet, struggling with that car. He goes out there and intentionally follows the 88, as we see Blaney pop up to the second spot on his second lap. So that's really going to benefit Daniel, give him a much, much better starting spot had he not been able to go out there and sort of have that rabbit to chase around the racetrack here in qualifying.
Chase Briscoe, bottom left, you see flashing into the green. He is heading into turn 7. This is where I thought SVG just really excelled, is through this Congress Plaza, but the 19 holding strong. Man, this would be a big upset. Even Michael McDowell was looking at SVG's lap.
He's been a major leaguer in qualifying this year. 4 poles for Briscoe.
Boom.
And there he goes. 1:30.273. Impressive for the driver from Mitchell, Indiana.
Wow.
That's amazing. What a lap.
I talked to SVG this week. He kind of took me for a lap around here and broke it down for the fans. And I said, who's your biggest competition? He said, you will have no idea how much the whole garage improved from year 1 to year 2. So coming here, he didn't dare list a name, Dale, because he said there are many drivers that in the right car on the right day could absolutely outrun me.
Briscoe went out there and found 2 seconds.
Wow.
2 seconds for practice. He was 27th on the board overall and went out there, and now you can find a couple tenths here and there, maybe do some things a little bit better, but he found chunks and chunks of lap time on the racetrack.
Briscoe, a winner at Pocono, locked into the playoffs. His first victory driving the 19 for Joe Gibbs Racing. But as I said, really, really good on pole day this season is Briscoe. Barry just jumped up to 16th on the board.
And this is SVG down the front stretch. So he ran a very slow, like 20 seconds off lap, I think, to cool everything. And now that Briscoe has put that lap up, I think SVG has got information over the radio. Keep going. Don't come to pit road. You got to see if you can improve. So far, right there. I mean, dead even with Briscoe. Heim is also the point. Now remember, we're not thinking Heim for the pole, but he needs to run maybe a couple seconds off Briscoe. A second and a half would be a big improvement for Heim. Look at SVG. Can he do it? Suarez is out there still chasing him.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Worked the first time. Do it again. Teammates at Trackhouse.
Or better. Yeah, he's real good. 5.
Look at this lap. Into 6.
Going.
Down the hill, Michigan Avenue, the right-hander at turn 7. Goodness. He's got 4 tenths in his pocket coming through Congress Plaza.
He wants to take the air out of the 19 cars balloon right here in a big way, and it is going to be in a monster way.
Hey, Chase, beat this one. I mean, just an incredible lap for Shane Van Gisbergen. Under a minute and a half. That is unreal.
Hell yeah.
67, just, I don't think he could improve. He's still going. You see the car comes at you crooked. I mean, the toe link's bent so much. When you don't want to know about what the toe link does, watch this car go down the straightaway. I mean, look, that's not an optical illusion. It is bent so much the tail is to the left, but he knows as the slowest current car that Catherine Legg has the opportunity to eliminate him if she can run faster in the next group. So he's out there with everything on the line trying. I'm with you, Dale. If he improves, this is as impressive as SVG was. This is as good a drive for me if Corey Heim can somehow get this car around the lap.
Celebrating his 23rd birthday today. And you don't want to deal with the disappointment of missing the show.
He ran one lap on the racetrack before this one. It was a 1:33.3. Not as good as the 1:32.9 that he ran earlier. So he's going to try to run this second lap here now that he kind of maybe understands what that rear end's doing. And boy, big moment right there for him. Big moments in this car, just uncomfortable.
Hey, Dad, just tell him to look at his water temp and flip the alternator on.
And he does improve. He goes to a 1:32.5.
And that lap could be the difference. If he makes the race, what he just did on a bent rear suspension car, give me the reason he's here. And I'm with you. The 90-degree corners he can figure out, but those long sweeping ones look super uncomfortable.
Malecki had returned to the track and gone a little quicker too. His best lap, a 1:31.98 in the 66. We pick up Christopher Bell in the 20. Talked earlier about how good he's been on the road. Winner earlier this season at Circuit of the Americas. Second in Mexico City. After he qualified outside the top 30, drove it through the field.
Cars on the racetrack, 10 or 12 of them. They're kind of scattered all over. Last ditch efforts to try to improve. Even if you can't be the fastest and win the pole, you can continue to improve your session. I have my eye on Will Brown all the way down there, currently in 5th. Another supercar driver.
Supercar champion. Got it done a season ago, did Will Brown. Second in the championship this year.
Jumps up to 3rd.
Yeah, 2 Pensky drivers inside the top 5 right now.
After the practice, Dale, you pointed out a couple times. I agreed. They didn't really show great practice, but they're showing up in qualifying.
Bell stays 9th. You talked earlier about put somebody in a position for success and they'll bulldog their way to the finish. That's Joey Logano too, right? I mean, you just give him an opportunity and he will take advantage. 3rd right now in qualifying and looking for more as we go under a minute remaining in this Group 1 qualifying session. And you just have to start your lap. You don't have to finish it before the clock expires. So still some work to be done for a number of drivers.
He's got to be really happy too, because they were way down at 33rd on the board in practice and not any speed in his car. Some of his teammates struggled as well. So the changes that they made on this car have really helped Logano and probably brightened up his
Logano stays 3rd. Time winding down. Shane Van Gisbergen at the top. This is Group 1. Group 2 will go out, and they will get 20 minutes as well to try and best it. We'll blend them all together, and problems here for Noah Gregson in the 4.
So that's what a broken toe link looks like, right? We've seen bent where they point the wrong direction. When it finally breaks, this is what happens. It just flops around back and forth. He's already off speed right here, so yeah, it finally breaks. He's obviously hit something.
Yeah, I would imagine where he's at on the racetrack, that was probably another turn for a victim.
His fast lap had him 12th here in Group 1. He's trying to stay out of the way as others come by.
1 car entering 11 now.
Doing a nice job. Not trying to not mess up anybody else's lap. There's a bunch of flyers out there.
Surprised how much drama that we've seen in practice and now in qualifying. I mean, this track, even though this is year 3, it still continues to challenge drivers.
Just so unforgiving. Gregson's able to limp back to pit road. Hot lap for Shane Van Gisbergen. Won the pole earlier today for the Xfinity race. and he leads Group 1. Can he hang on in Group 2? No doubt he's the favorite coming the weekend. So successful here in Chicago. Here's Alan Cavana.
And I'm with Chase Briscoe, who just put down a great lap. Wasn't quite good enough to best SVG, but you found 2 seconds, they pointed out, between practice and that qualifying lap. Where did you find that on the track?
Yeah, our car, just to start, was quite a bit off. So, you know, the Bass Pro Shop Toyota guys did a good job of just getting it better. And throughout practice even, I knew we were getting closer, just the tires are kind of worn out to that point. So, yeah, good lap. Not a great lap. SVG, it's just, it's almost embarrassing for us, right, just to be that far off and still, you know, have a good lap. So, yeah, good job by him. Obviously, you know, this is like the most intense qualifying session we do all year. You know, next week at Sonoma, if you miss a corner, you just go in the dirt. Here you hit the wall. So you're on the absolute ragged edge. It's a lot of fun for us. So, yeah, glad we, you know, at least we'll have a decent starting spot tomorrow. Obviously, with, you know, the second group going, you never know. But, yeah, did our part so far and just see what we got tomorrow now.
Good day so far. I'd call it a pretty good week. Earlier this week, you were throwing out the first pitch for the Chicago Cubs. I think your only worry was not making YouTube for all the wrong reasons. We've got the pitch here. How'd it go?
Yeah, I could have definitely thrown it harder. I just wasn't sure about the accuracy, so I made sure I at least threw a strike. I've never been so nervous in my life. I mean, I was literally shaking before I went out there. It's one of those no-win situations. If you do it right, you know, people that follow you see it, but outside of that, nobody does. But if you do it wrong, the whole world sees it. It's on SportsCenter that night. So that was the whole goal going into it, and was glad I obviously threw a strike. So, yeah, I played a lot of baseball as a kid, and that was a dream come true for me. Just to, you know, step on the mound at Wrigley in a major league uniform was pretty dang special. So, yeah, it's been a fun week so far.
All right, if Chase Briscoe wins tomorrow, I promise a lot of people are going to see this thing, guys.
Did you see him on the mound? He had his lip tucked under the teeth. I mean, it was like, I'm going to bring it. He went.
And like a pitcher, it was obvious a strike. He's not even questioning.
Look at his face.
Briscoe.
Yep, little wave.
There it is.
From the mound.
From the mound, A-play. And he's right. There's no, like, you have no chance of anything good happening if you bounce one in.
That's kind of what he said to Allen. I mean, you just don't want to screw it up.
All right. Good for him. I might have to say no.
I'm going to tell you, the youth leagues in Mitchell, Indiana, very competitive for baseball. I mean, yeah.
As we watch this second group get ready to go,
Dale just transitions right back.
Dale's like, I don't know what you idiots are talking about, but qualifying's happening.
Hey, Steve, Adam, I've had enough of your nonsense.
I wore the shirts. That's the line I'm drawing.
I noticed the 48 car Bowman was in this line of cars pulling out on the racetrack, so the toe link repair to that car is done, and they're going to go out there and make an effort to qualify, unlike his teammates Byron and Chase Elliott, who had to go to the garage for further repairs on their cars. And there's Catherine Legg at the back of this field. Catherine Legg has a chance to maybe go out there and qualify her way into this field. Heim struggled in qualifying with the damage to his car and ran a 132.5. Catherine was at a 94 flat in practice. She also got into the tires and may have had some repairs as well to make. So this is a very dramatic qualifying session. We get to find out exactly how this is all going to play out over the next 18.5 minutes.
I didn't have the Catherine Legg, Corey Heim face-off on the bingo card coming of the weekend, but here we are with Group 2.
There's a little practice for your bracket right here, because it's head-to-head. This is the driver here, though. You know, with Briscoe being second, another Gibbs car with Ty Gibbs driving it,
and Bell fourth.
Yeah, it's a big gap to SVG, but down in Mexico, we watched a heck of a battle between Gibbs and SVG, and I think we could see something here today.
I'm still curious, how would everything have played out in Mexico if the caution didn't come, you know?
Yeah, so basically the caution you're talking about is there was a split decision on strategy, and the caution ruined the 54s and kind of sunk them. Look right here, trending green. It's only one corner, but at this point, you'll take any green on the board. Gave it a little bit up.
And this is only lap 1. We've seen them all improve on lap 2. Shane went out and ran his best lap on the 3rd lap on tires. So a little bit of speed in the tire before it starts to fall off. I'd be really surprised, really impressed if anybody went out there and beat SVG on lap 1 of their run here. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy. Right now, I'm hoping he gets a second lap.
That makes me so nervous.
Oh my goodness.
They just look out of control in those braking zones to turn 4, and they're flying, you know.
I think they are out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of controlled chaos as they bounce your way down in there.
Yeah.
He was like, I think I'm going to go a little easier in 6.
Goodness. Squealing and screaming around this racetrack. Now Bowman, who was behind his 54 as Gibbs completes his lap, is way off the pace, and he has held up all of those cars behind him.
Yeah.
Coming to the start-finish line. That's probably hurt the lap time for Dylan, as well as Buscher.
Buscher's lap was 3rd, so, you know, it was a good lap, but to your point, it could have maybe been held up a little bit.
Lap 1, in a little traffic. 3rd, pretty good for Buscher, and all the hopping around for Gibbs that we watched, he's 4th.
Now, Bowman ran that first lap, it was quite a bit off pace, but maybe just trying to feel this thing out as they made those repairs to the left rear suspension, and now he seems to be pushing a little harder, only 2/10 off, as he's about a third of the way through the lap. What a race shot right here. You can see him a little more conservative than most through that corner. Certainly respecting the danger in turn 4.
Allmendinger 10th on lap 1. He's on track right now in the 16.
I don't think this is a too terrible lap for Alex, actually.
It's so hard because SVG is so far out from second.
He lost about a quarter of a second, maybe almost a half a second there in the last couple of corners, but that puts him up to 5th.
Yeah.
From outside the top 20 to inside the top 5 for Alex Bowman.
1 second is the gap from 1st to 5th, and most of that is from 1st to 2nd. I mean, SVG over 6/10 clears. Catherine Legg continues her first lap, just didn't have the pace. This one is kind of trending right on. She needs to find a little pace through here. This will be better than the first lap, but I don't think this is close enough yet. As you said, Dale, these tires allow multiple runs. Let's see what this lap is. She needs to run a 32 and change. That's a 33 and change, so she picked up a lap. Oh, man, that's a big hit with the left front tire.
Once you get behind and you start chasing it, it just gets more and more difficult, which I would say is what makes what Corey Heim did so impressive, because he knew he had the issue and he was able to go out and massage a wounded race car and pick up some speed. And that fine line, just overdoing it, trying to get too much.
This lap, once again, is an improvement on the lap before. She's only about a half a second off back in here into turn 4. About 1 second off right here. So that's 1 second off SVG. So to give you an idea, Heim is, we'll call it 3 seconds. It's a little under. It's like 2.8 and change. So she's trending the right direction. Can she continue? This is 6 over to 7. And she is trying to make the field to send Corey Heim home in a 2311 car. This would be a huge Saturday story in the Cup Series on the streets.
One little miscue, and you can throw it all away.
Oh, that little mistake right there, that's going to cost her about almost a full second.
I know. She's right there. She has a chance. She needs a good turn 11. Can she hustle it through 11 to eliminate Heim? She does it, right?
Yeah, she sure did.
She does.
Look at that.
36.
A 10th quicker than Corey Heim, and Catherine Legg in the race. Corey Heim will be going home.
And now you just say 78, just shut it down, all right? Just shut it down. You did what you needed to do.
Wow, what a great job behind the wheel by Catherine Legg. You want to talk about pressure of winning a race? How about pressure of being around for race day?
Reddick brings it back to 5th. Ryan Preece, we talked about him earlier. Great qualifying effort, started front row, Mexico City. He's up in the top 5. Kyle Busch just went up to 3rd. 4-time winner on the road is Kyle Busch in his career.
23 cars turned around on the racetrack right here. He's
my.
Well, it's killing these guys' laps. They're trying to finish the start-finish line.
Oh, yeah. They're all like, oh, my God.
Come on, why you want to spin here? And for Bubba, this is a big story because he was great in practice, and that spin killed the lap, but also did it kill the tires. He's 32nd. Man, we got a lot going on here in this second.
Gosh, this reminds me a little bit Bubba Wallace at Pocono when they were so good in practice. Had the issue with the starter, couldn't make a qualifying run. You know what I mean?
That was emotional.
And now you just chase it all day long. And ultimately, they had all the brake issues in the race, and maybe it ended up, not mattering. But the one thing this team did so well early in the year is score stage points. And you put yourself in position to score stage points by delivering on qualifying day. With that, pick up the 71, Michael McDowell on track.
Yeah, the 71 right here in Congress Plaza, and behind him, after we watch this 71, is the 45. Well, here you are on board. He was only about a 10th off. He gave up some time right here, but only a half a second off SVG. This is going to be a lap. McDowell jumps to second, and then Reddick third, basically on top of one another.
McDowell's going to be something to watch. I mean, you know, Danielle talked earlier, I think, about the fact he's finished top 10 both races here, and 5th earlier this season in Mexico City, and Reddick too. We mentioned that he was chasing down Bowman into the race last season, got into the wall, but a really good road racer, was 2nd here at Chicago last season.
Let's take a look at the replay of Bubba Wallace and how he got himself turned around here.
Sorry, boys. That's okay. We'll regroup here. Yeah, I just hit it damn near 90 degrees square. Yeah, I don't see any issues back here. You know, you're scuffed across the Toyota. That's it. I don't see anything wrong on the quarter panels at all.
He gassed it up and he hit it. He said square, which I agree, kind of square to the rear bumper. And then watch this. The 5 slow, the 38 slows, and now look right here, the 43. He's like, oh!
And these guys are coming to begin their laps. Like, that's at the start-finish line. So they're coming to throttle up and begin the lap right here. So that kills this lap. And they have to go all the way back around another time before they can actually start to time a competitive lap.
It's chaos on the streets, Adam. We haven't even got racing yet.
Oh, the 6 of Brad Keselowski's backed it into the tire barrier. Looks like he's going to get away without any real damage. So Brad gets down into turn 7 right here. First time we really seen a car have a problem here. Downhill braking zone. Easy to get in trouble, but kind of bounces off the tire barrier and should be okay.
His 2 teammates right now inside the top 10. Priest 6th, Busher 7th as we ride along with BK.
Yeah, I think Brad's going to keep on running. Go ahead and keep on qualifying here. See him continuing his lap. And here's the 2 that were kind of blocked by Bubba Wallace, and the 43 of Jones says, I'm done with my lap. I'll get out of your way here if you want to keep running. A little gentlemanly behavior right there to allow Zane Smith to continue a lap. Zane in 28th, Jones in 31st.
Watching the tracker, McDowell in the green down there was.
Yeah, he's over on the backside of the track in turn 5. So still half of the lap to go for McDowell.
Hocevar, his teammate on track, top 5. Maybe 6th in practice. Really good was the 77.
Oh, Mr. Excitement.
Hocevar is just about a third of the way through the lap, coming through turn 2.
Oh, man.
Golly. I just feel like they're never going to make the turn. When we start seeing them braking there, and they start hopping and bouncing and squealing, the tires.
Walking, I mean, you get to turn 3, that little elbow you talked about, you look down into turn 4 and you think there's not a turn there. It's like you're just driving off to the end of the earth.
It just passes the eye test. Every time I'm like, oh, nope, he's not going to make it. Nope, nope. And he made it all of a sudden. It's crazy how fast they go through turn 4.
Well, we came here in year 1. Oh, he's in trouble. God, how did he not wreck? We came here in year 1, and none of them really were. They didn't know the track well enough to really drive the cars the way they're driving them now. They're driving like animals around this racetrack.
They are.
It's just insane. And then we had a lot of weather, rain, and so forth in the first 2 races that kind of took away their ability to really push the track on truly dry, circumstances. And so we're seeing some very impressive hustle.
Well, you lit up. Briscoe said it was the most intense qualifying of the year. Think about this. 15-second laps at Bristol, 200 miles an hour at Michigan. There's a lot of different things these drivers tackle over the course of the year, and he says this is the most intense session of the year. Says everything you need to know.
Look at Spire.
Oh, yeah.
2nd and 3rd on the board with McDowell and Hocevar. This is an organization that's picked up a couple of poles this year, but they did so at the 1.5 miles. Now flexing their muscles on the road. Adaptability is such a big thing. And that, to me, is what's been impressive about Carson Hocevar. Just the dynamic speed that he has at so many different types of venues. And we've really seen it when you look at how the schedule lays out the last month, 6 weeks or so.
I can't believe just how Spire's become competitive. And this 77 car, it's all the same people for the most part that have been there for years. It's not like they added a ton of new people and all of a sudden made the team better. These are the same people that were with this team when it was ran more as a business and out there just trying to make the bottom line work. And when they got the funding and support to be able to go out there and try to go for wins, the people they had were talented enough to go out there and make it happen. So I know McDowell's done a lot of a little more managing of his own individual team and brought in some people and so forth of his own, but pretty impressive across the board what Spire's able to do. I just never imagined a day where I would see Spire going out there and competing with two cars today that are in the top 5 with a really legitimate shot to win the race this weekend. It's really cool.
Trying to add to this list, last 5 races on the road, 5 different winners. Plenty of parity when it comes to this style.
Alex Bowman is going to thunder the street.
For a celebration of a different kind here in Chicago. Someone quite capable. Kyle Larson was 15th in practice. And he's going to get on it here.
There's about 6 cars out on the racetrack right now with Kyle. But a lot of clean racetrack out here in front of him.
23 of Bubba Wallace spun around in turn 11, a little bit of damage. Let's listen in if they think they can get another lap.
Okay, so here's the plan. So you're going to start it up in neutral. We're going to push you out and get you a bit of a running start here, and then use your clutch at the same time just in case it happens to work, and get into first. No throttle until it actually gets into first so we don't damage the transaxle.
So it sounds like they have a clutch issue, saying if the clutch works. You mentioned the car wouldn't start. This is some mechanical. Now, it did spin out. I don't know if this is part of the wreck, but
looks like he's got it fired off there, and he's on his way. And remember, they had a starter issue at Pocono, too, trying to go into qualifying, where the car locked. The starter actually broke a couple teeth off and locked the entire drive line up.
Larson looking good here. Turn 11, back to the alternate start-finish line for driver 5. Lost a little there through Congress Plaza, but he's going to make a jump up to 14th.
Go ahead and confirm your brake fans here.
Inside of 3 minutes to go. Group 2 practice.
I know we've covered a lot. William Byron, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin have not run. They're not going to run. Just to your point, Adam, that we know they're going to be coming from the back because of damage.
Oh, man. He will throw it around, won't he, AJ Allmendinger?
The tire squealing is like a new thing for me because there's not a lot of tracks we can hear the squealing.
Yeah.
Currently 16th on the board for Allmendinger. He stays right there. Couple of seconds behind on that lap. 3 career wins, all of them coming on the road for the driver out of California.
Only 2/10 off.
It seems like everybody's able to stay relatively close to the speed of SVG up until around this part of the racetrack here. Now the backside of the track is where SVG really gets it done, and that's because you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 all right there together. A lot of content in the racetrack in terms of really hitting the line perfectly. And SVG is just so good at putting multiple corners up to 23 with another issue here.
You know, he had flashed the green right when he started his lap.
Man, this day went away quick, didn't it?
Big time.
We're good. We can keep running.
So, look, you know, the team's like, we're basically last. So even if...
Got a caution out there on the caution line into turn 4.
Oh, boy.
So he slows down.
Oh, I bet they're going to check the tire barrier.
Yeah, so he backed it into the tire barrier at turn 2, pretty deep. And NASCAR will absolutely want to see if those tires are going to be ready to handle the next car that goes into them.
Wow.
There you go.
You see how good of a job they did, but here's will be a great shot. Look at that.
Yeah, so they'll have to re-straighten up the tire pack.
And with 56 seconds left, remember earlier when Chase Elliott's team said 1:19 to come around and get a green? I don't see anyone could start another lap.
Yeah.
We'll see if NASCAR makes it official or if they add time. But with 56 seconds and everyone starting from pit road, unless they don't make everybody come back to pit road, there's a few cars rolling around slow, but I imagine they will.
And Bubba had such a great practice session, and now sitting 38th of the cars.
Check your clutch here for me.
The last of the cars that have timed.
And qualifying is over. Shane Van Gisbergen starts on the pole in Chicago, 3rd career pole. Last time he led him to the green, last month, Mexico City. And we know how that turned out. Dominated the race, won a stage, and pulled away at the end. Let's hear from the man from Auckland, New Zealand. Here's Alan.
High fives all around for the 88 crew, Shane Van Gisbergen. Another fast lap. They didn't make it easy on you, though. You went back out and you put a hot one down. Where'd you find that extra time when you went back out?
Cheers. Yeah, that was epic. I think the guys did a great job. Where the tech Chevys are really good. I'm lucky boy. I've got some great cars today, and Xfinity pole, Cup pole is pretty special. So yeah, look forward to the race tomorrow. But yeah, what a tune-up. Practice wasn't that great, and went out in qualifying. Car felt really good and laid down 2 pretty good laps.
We've heard you mention how the field can pick up its game, its skill. How do you do that for yourself? How have you upped your game?
Well, you can always do something better, right? You're always learning, and I learned a lot in the Xfinity car this morning, and that just gives you a great leg up for the Cup car. So I think it's great running 2 cars, get a good advantage there, and yeah, it certainly helps.
Big smile from SVG's got the best seat in the house tomorrow, start of the race tomorrow,
referenced Xfinity earlier today. Last driver to sweep weekend polls, Shane Van Gisbergen at the Roval last fall. And now the recap today for driver 78, Catherine Legg. It was eventful.
Yeah, more than 40 cars here. Someone was going to miss the show. Catherine Legg's day in turn 6, into the tires, and then damage on the left front. Up and down day, but then when it mattered the most, Dale found a way to put a lap together and eliminate Corey Heim. What a drive for the 78.
Yeah, absolutely. Their first lap in qualifying, she nosed it first into the wall there and then drives the second lap as hard as she could, Danielle.
Yeah, Dale, Catherine Legg making history, the first woman to ever compete in the Chicago street course race. Catherine, you were just smiling watching back some of those highlights.
Yeah, I was thinking, way to go, showing all my minor indiscretions there. I tried my best to mess that qualifying up, honestly. I think it was a lot of pressure to come in and with only 20 minutes of practice on a street course where there's no room for error to try and put it in the show. But I actually feel pretty good about it now. Having done that, we would have been a lot faster, I think, had I not kept nicking the walls. I've given my crew a lot of work to do. Sorry, guys. But I just had to keep pushing and put it in the show, which we did. So I'm very proud of them, and I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow and a little bit less stress.
As soon as you found out you made the show, Ross Chastain came down to give you hugs. A lot of folks in the pits now, a lot of media. Your dad, Derek, is here, gave you a large hug. What does it mean to make the field? You've made the Indianapolis 500s, but now you've qualified for Chicago Street Course.
Yeah, BJ actually said to me, this can't be any more stressful than qualifying for Indy. And I was thinking, actually it is, because there's a level of comfort with Indy that I know where I'm going and what I'm doing. And here it's very much drinking from a fire hose, just trying to find my feet and get better. And the only way you can get better is with laps, and we don't have any practice, so you have to get better in the race, so I have to put it in the show, so it's like this vicious circle. But I really, really appreciate everybody's support, and it means the world to me, and I can't thank everybody enough. You know, Chevrolet have been amazing, RCR have helped me and given me sim time, and it's been a hell of a year.
So happy for you. Her dad, Derek, was just saying, Adam, that he flies back and forth from Europe every time she races here in the States. Dad's not going home tonight, Catherine. He's staying for the big show tomorrow.
Thanks.
It's all about checking boxes. Part 1 is done. She's in the show. Let's look at the starting lineup for tomorrow here in Chicago.
Yeah, a lot of the usual suspects up front. Michael McDowell, Tyler Reddick. Great qualifying effort for Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon as well back there in row 5. Good lap for the 3.
Yeah, Ryan Preece was on the front row. Mexico City row 4 here, showing his speed in qualifying for sure.
Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson back in row 7. Good improvement for Joey Logano up into row 6 there.
Yeah, Will Brown, you see a name you don't normally see back there on row 10. We'll see as his comfort grows what kind of pace he'll show as the race continues.
Ross Chastain coming from row 11. Hiccup for Noah Gragson in qualifying. Starts on row 12 at speed in practice.
Yeah, a lot of these teams here are just kind of struggling to find the pace, but they'll get better and better. The more laps they run in the race, you'll see the lap times drastically improve throughout the day.
And look at this final page right here. My goodness. Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Chase, and Denny. The final 2 rows is going to be action-packed.
Yeah, Byron, Elliott, Hamlin all had the issues, didn't make a qualifying run. And as you said, it will be entertaining to watch them come from the back tomorrow. NASCAR Nation on the air. TNT from Chicago tomorrow.